Welcome back, everyone, to an exciting segment. I hope that you were with us last time where we were talking about love and marriage. You could go back and watch those videos again. But today, it's going to be very special. I know I always say that, but we have the Mayles with us, and they're going to tell us, they're going to talk to us how they met, their story of love. So without further ado, here is our brother Donnie Mayles and our sister Nicole
Hello,
Mayles.
everyone.
They're with us here, and last time we were talking about love and marriage. We got really into the nitty gritty of marriages and why they work and why they don't work. But today we're talking about your story. You want to hear how you guys met. You know, we always see people in the congregation, and we don't always know their story. You don't have time to kind of say it. So go ahead, tell us first. Okay, first of all, you guys met in Ohio because you're from Ohio. Both of you guys are from Ohio.
Yeah, we're both from Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give my version.
Okay, yeah, that's what I should have said.
For me, honestly, we're a little over 5 years age difference. So
Almost exactly 6, actually.
6.
Yeah.
She's always right. So I first got into church as a teenager, and so back then she was just a little kid to me, and I remember, I had a little.
Donnie had long hair.
Almost a little mullet in the back, and she would come pull my little tail. It was a rat tail about a foot long. She would pull that, and I would pull her ponytail. But honestly, it was one of those classic scenarios where, we went to church together, and we almost, we never really considered each other. One of those where we both kind of looking for love, and it wasn't until, I was in my 20s and I had an apartment, and lo and behold, right under my nose was the love of my life, So for me, the youth group would come over to my apartment. I was one of the only ones that had their own place, and then I just remember our conversations. I felt like she understood me, and had been in a long relationship before that, and I just didn't feel right about it, and I didn't feel like it was the person that God had for me, and and she was just a great listener, and for me, I think, notice, there'd be 20 people at the apartment, and then 10 and 15, and then pretty soon, we were some of the last ones, and just realized that, hey, this is somebody I connect with, and that's when the light bulb kind of turned on for me.
Wow. Was that it? Is that what happened? Is making it up?
Pretty close there. Yeah. It's funny is like when I was 16 and he was older, so you would never think, because there's a gap in our age. We were at a birthday party. I don't know if you remember this. It was a birthday party at the church, and we were out in the hallway just talking, and we almost missed the whole entire birthday party because we were just talking. And so people think you got to look all over the world, but you're friends. When you connect and you have that friendship, it brings a bond that that just, it was a great.
She's right. Yeah. She said the key word. We always had a running joke about friends, but we truly were friends first.
Yeah.
And I remember, we had just started dating, and I didn't know if she wanted anyone to know, and we ran into someone, and they said, "Oh, are you guys dating?" And I just nervously said, "We're just friends." And
he got in trouble.
She got so mad at me. She says, "We're just friends. We've been dating for a few weeks." And I said,
I don't know when we started.
I didn't know if we were supposed to tell everyone, and that still comes up.
Was that the first fight?
that was the first fight. She says, "We have dated for weeks now. Like, wow. We go together."
Wow. That's funny. Yeah. You guys said something which I kind of wanted to dive into, and if parents, if you have a young person, I want you to bring them on and have them hear this, because this is more geared toward like the younger generations than the youth. But here's the question: like, how do you know? I think you said it. How do you know that the person is the one? Like, how do you know that? Does God talk to you like in a dream, or how does that happen?
Man, that's a hard question. I think I knew when Donnie had a little bit more trouble with the whole. In his mind, he just never saw himself getting married, and he thought he was older, and so when we realized we had kind of had that point, like what's going on, and we realized we even kind of maybe took a break. We kind of were just like, you know what, I don't know, like, if this is what I want. And then when we kind of separated for a moment, realized, no, this was what we wanted. We did want this.
Right. I was looking for things to be perfect, I think, in the beginning, and not with us, but you know, I was in a long relationship and I didn't have a peace about it at all, you know, and with Nicole, I didn't have the worries. For me, the number one thing was I wanted someone that loved God and that was going to support me in my ministry, and I just, and even though you know, obviously I tried to date, you know, someone that would match that, but I just didn't feel a peace about it. And I think with us, saying before how we started as just friends, I felt that, and I didn't question where she stood spiritually. That was probably, honestly, the thing that let me know. That became clear that I wasn't going to have to fight with someone about where our family stood with God.
Wow, amen.
How about you guys?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'll say my version. Marcella's not here to say her version, but well, it is the version. We actually met in church, and she was a new family coming to church, and there was a new Argentinian family. There was no Argentinians in our church. I'm originally from New York, but she's from Argentina. So she started coming to our church, and my father was the assistant pastor at that time, and they called up my father like 10 p.m. And they're like, oh, you know, we have to know this question. And the question of the day was, you know, how did Jesus die on Friday and resurrect on Sunday? And he was supposed to be dead for 3 days. Right. You know, the math doesn't add up. Yeah. So my father, you know, smart guy, he's like, come with me. I'm going to the new house of the Argentinians, you know, like, 10 p.m. at night. So, you know, we go and they're there. And that's the first time we met. But again, as youth in church, you know, I think I must have been like 16, 17, maybe not even 17, like 14, 15. And, you know, just, you know, as friends in church kind of developed. Right. And I was in Marines and I left. And when I was in Iraq War, I used to write letters to people because we have no phones.
Right.
So we used to write letters, and we used to exchange letters, and she used to write me letters. And when I came back, you know, her letters were really, you know, like more personal.
Absolutely.
I connected, you know.
That's
cool.
And
that's how when it came back, like it was like we kept going. So it was like through letters and stuff like that. So that's like really old school, kind of like a movie almost, right?
Oh, where's the music? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it actually kind of reminds me, jogs my memory of one of the first things that hit us is in church, you know, we would have these skating parties up in Ohio in the winter. There was nothing to do. And so, you know, about once a month they would have the youth have rent out the local skating rink, and then probably 4 or 5 churches would come. And that's probably, now that I think back, the first time I was like, hey, that Nicole, you know? And I think I asked her to do a couple skates, and that was probably the first time that, you know, it hit me, this one who I've been friends with all this time, and, you know, coming over to the get-togethers and stuff. So that kind of brings me back with what you said. Yeah. And honestly, growing up, you know, and being around each other in that environment, you know, I think before we started dating, just to put a time on it, I think it was probably close to 12 or 13 years we had known each other. Yeah, went to the church. Then her dad pastored for a little while, and they left, and then they came back. And so that was just to give a timeline. Yeah. You know, there was about 12 years we actually knew each other.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, the moment that I knew that I was gonna marry her, Marcella, is I'll tell you, I know this precise moment. We were in the car, and you know, Ohio snow in New York, and we also had snow, and I had a Jeep, and the Jeep got stuck in the snow. Did that happen to you too? Oh no! So it gets stuck in the snow, and I'm trying to shovel it out. And mind you, I'm already a Marine. I'm like fit, you know. I'm like fit. I couldn't get that car out. I couldn't. I gave up. Like I literally gave up, and I gave up, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sleep in the car, turn the heat on, and whatever. But here she comes, and she never gave up. She kept shoveling. No, we didn't even have a shovel. We had like this little, like, I don't know, like a cardboard. Right. And she got that car out. Wow. I was like, there's no way.
I'm going to marry this woman.
There's no way. If she could do that here, she could do anything.
That's cool.
That was the moment that I know. So,
Marcella, you're so cute.
Yeah, she is. And she's still like that now, you know. Yeah. So we meshed together. Yeah, she's always helping her, and, you know, she doesn't let up. And so I think there is moments where, if you're a young person looking for a significant other, I think there is that moment that you see, hey, this person does match the qualities that I want.
Absolutely.
But here's the other thing. I don't think that there's nobody in this world is going to match all the qualifications.
Definitely not.
Right.
Yeah,
It's just not going to happen. So
you can get
have to,
stuck on those things, man, and you can miss out on a great relationship. Put them in that friend zone, when it could be a great match.
And that's probably what I see with the youth today, maybe more.
Absolutely.
That's happening, that they're maybe a little bit more picky, or I mean, you should be. Obviously, it's somebody they're going to be marrying, obviously, but.
Well, yeah, I think we need to have a happy medium. I was nervous and apprehensive at first. I was 27 before we were married, and she was 21. But everyone, around our time was getting married at 20 and 21. And so I was probably overly cautious, like some of the youth today, and looking for everything to be perfect. Not a perfect person. And so I do want to caution the youth and people now, like, none of us are perfect, and you're not going to have everything just fall into place perfect like that. There's no one even in the Bible that had it like that. But I think the main thing to center around is what both of us have talked about, is finding someone godly, and really just as simple as just taking to God. Is this someone that is going to be a helpmate, on both sides of it, and is this someone that aligns with your calling in my life? And for me, that was when it was just answered,
Usually you find someone when you're not even looking, it just happens.
And that's really what I think happened to us. But something you said too, about just that dedication and hard worker, there's the ones that were, prissy when we go out and don't want to break a nail. But I remember some of our first kind of dates and hanging out was when I owned a landscaping company, and I was driving around in my dump truck doing service calls, and, her cousin at the time was like, go with him. She's like, I don't want to ride in her truck, and she ended up coming with me, and then, we had a blast,
Yeah, it was fun.
Very, very awesome. And something that I've spoken to my wife about this, because we speak about just different topics, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I see people say, I can't find a spouse, or I can't find. Well, where are you looking?
Right, exactly.
So I know we have both the church. I think that's the first place, and obviously we're talking to church people here. But if you're going somewhere else, where, like if you go to a bar, right? What kind of person are you really getting at a bar?
Exactly, right.
And obviously you're gonna find a godly person at church. Yeah. That's that. Where are you looking? Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Bible speaks of being unequally yoked, and obviously it's speaking specifically about spiritually, but just in general, people, you have to have the same interests, the same wants, and I think that's where a lot of people get off track is, even in church, you kind of are wanting to do one thing, and another person, they have no interest in that. So that's a very important thing to get straightened out in the beginning is, seek someone, you have to get past the superficial and seek someone that is aligned with your interest in it. And that's one thing I love about my wife. Like, we are on the same page. My goal is to make all her dreams come true, and I can honestly say...
That's my dream, too.
That's funny.
Yes, I underhanded that one.
You gave her that one. It was easy. That's funny. But, another thing, again, trying to, like, help out the youth today, we've talked about this already, where we said we see the social distancing and people are apart. Right. And there's research saying that, people... just in general, they're staying home. Yep. But, you find people outside. Yeah. And people, even to church, they stay away from church. Oh, yeah. So it's getting harder to meet people, to socialize, let alone find a spouse. Exactly. And especially with teenagers, your mind is not fully developed until you're, I think, 22? And so when you're staying inside the house, you're...
constantly on the phone.
Yeah, you're just... You got to get out. You got to, got to get to church. Yeah. Got to find people.
They're losing out on the social skills.
Exactly. That social anxiety starts taking over. Even more. And it can be a dangerous thing.
I think that's probably the worst it's ever been. The social anxiety is how to meet people, how to communicate. We're so used to doing things, nowadays on the phone, and there's just, back in our days, we went out to do stuff. We went out to the skating things. We went out building snowmen. We went out just doing things and spending time, even if it's in groups, and that's how we got to know each other more. But now I think it's become easy to just take our insecurities, and especially for the youth today, to hide behind the phone, hide behind these things, and not really develop how to communicate and just have that one-on-one. And I think it's definitely hurting.
I think parents definitely need to urge their children, go to church camps. meet the,
Get
meet,
involved, do
right,
something.
meet other people. Not saying, you're finding your soulmate at camp, but just getting that interaction, finding friends, going out to the youth events. If they're having a church on a Friday night, your kids need to be there to meet people and interact. We get into these, man, I was growing up, I would ride my bike until it was completely dark and run home. Now everyone's so enclosed and inside, and take them to church camp, take them to the youth rallies, take them to, every event that they can possibly get to.
Quick plug-in, Youth on Missions coming
there
soon.
We go.
There
yes,
you go. I think they're going to Brazil.
Oh, there we go.
Again, you're doing stuff for God, and at the same time, while you're doing things for God, in the Bible, that happens often.
Right.
Where the person is doing something for God, and then boom, something amazing happens to them.
Pastor says all the time, it's like married, they find their spouses on these trips.
Youth on marriage.
Youth on marriage.
That's why your kids quit going.
Yeah, exactly. Don't send them if they're, no, but truthfully, it's such awesome. A good Youth on Mission.
Right.
Just a quick plug-in, they're going to Brazil this time. And as always, just get the youth involved.
Exactly.
While they're involved, great things God will take care of the rest.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And also, you're being around like-minded people with what we, alluded to before. You're around people that have the same interest, motivated people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it takes work to go on these things. I went on years ago whenever I was a teenager and in my early 20s. We've supported several youth to be a part of them. And then now our daughter has been on several. And so, again, that's just an amazing, like I said, giving a plug, but it's just an amazing way to get out there, to meet people, and then also, as Pastor would say, to help change your world.
Amen. At the same time.
Yeah.
We're going to start wrapping it up. I have a quick poem here that I found. It says, love isn't always perfect. It isn't a fairy tale or a storybook. It doesn't always come easy. Love is overcoming obstacles, facing challenges, fighting to be together, holding on, and never letting go. It is a short word, easy to spell, difficult to define, and impossible to live without. Love is work, but most of all, love is realizing that every hour, every minute, and every second was worth it because you did it together.
Right.
Amen.
That's amazing.
Donnie's my best friend.
Amen. Look at that. And actually, I don't know if we showed the picture. We're going to close it out now, but we have a picture of you guys here somewhere. Yes, and I don't know how old were you guys, or how many years ago was
this? In the early 2000s.
We were both 20s.
Yeah.
In the 20s. Okay,
yeah.
wow.
That's when we had no gray hair and about 20 pounds lighter.
Well, but that's the beauty of it, the history. And,
we've literally grown together.
You've grown together. Amen. That's what happens. You grow together, and you even grow to like a better person.
It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen. Any closing remarks for our audience here? Well, I'm going to say that obviously, you guys are the marriage counselor, not counselors, but in charge of the marriage group.
Right.
And I'm sure that there's marriage people that would want to come to you, and they could come to you, right, and talk to you about anything.
Yes, anything that they feel comfortable with. It stays between us. It's confident, unless it's something we need to speak with, pastor with. But feel free to come out. Any questions, and we are here for you. We'll go out to dinner.
Absolutely. That was what I was going to follow with. What we try to do is mentor anyone and everyone, and then also get you going in the right direction. One thing I think we've been successful in our marriage leadership with is that we want to spend some time with other couples, which we have, and let them know that you're not the only one going through it. And then for those tough issues, get you led in the right direction.
Right.
There are some that need counseling, and I think.
And there's no shame in it. People shouldn't feel like they should be ashamed. And come out to our marrieds. We have married classes on Wednesday nights. If we have one, come join us. It's a fun time.
Just getting the knowledge, education, and led in the right direction, and that's what we try to do. So, like I said, we love spending time with other couples, and then when needed, we want to do everything we can to help and get you in the right direction, to get everything back on track.
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
Amen. Awesome. With that, we're going to leave you. Thank you guys for being here and for
just
sharing all your stories and your knowledge and your backgrounds.
Yeah, this is fun.
Thank you all who are watching the video now. Like I always say, like and subscribe, but also share with somebody, because if this was good for you, it's probably going to be good for somebody else as well. Share it, link somebody, just tag somebody. And we always love you here at POCC. We hope that your love just grows every day and that your marriages are stronger than ever before. We'll see you in the next video.
See you.